Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Charles, and welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, when we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And boy, oh boy, we have an episode here for you guys here today, so you want to stick around for it. So make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Now, as y'all know, Stephen A. Smith is easily one of the most plugged-in people in NBA circles. Before he made it on TV, he was a beat writer. He's been in so many NBA locker rooms, and this is something that he talks about publicly from time to time on ESPN First Take. He's very well plugged in with a lot of owners, players, team executives, etc. He knows a lot of people. Now, as y'all know, this current offseason, we got to see a top-tier NBA player essentially challenge an entire organization, an owner, an entire organization, to basically move him and Kevin Durant with the Brooklyn Nets. KD told them, basically demanded, that it's either you trade me or you fire your head coach and you fire the general manager that I think that Kevin Durant vouched for to begin with. The owner, Joe Tsai, heard what KD had to say and essentially told him, no, you go kick rocks. You're not going to come up here, dictate the terms to us after you signed a contract with us that you haven't even started to honor yet. You haven't played a single day to start honoring the $198 million contract that we agreed to give you. We also believed in you. And when you were recovering from an Achilles injury, we gave you a contract then. And by the way, we paid you because we believed in you. We did X, Y, and Z for you. We did all of these things for you. And at the end, you decided at a whim, you decide that you want to change locations, or you decide that you want us to trade you. It's not going to fly that way. So we saw Joe Tsai and the Brooklyn Nets basically tell Kevin Durant, no, you're not going to dictate the terms to us. And oh, by the way, there was a stipulation within that contract that said that KD had to be paid a certain amount before the season even started. I believe it was like 5 or 10%. He was paid about 20 something million dollars before this NBA season has even started. So what happened? We saw that ultimately Kevin Durant ended up not being moved, and he ended up rescinding his trade request. And now we know KD is going to be a Brooklyn Net. Now, when Stephen A. Smith came back from his vacation, he said something that was very poignant that I noticed that I think a lot of you guys are going to find to be quite interesting. He was talking, I believe it was to Mad Dog Russo, and he was talking about, you know, what role Kevin Durant played in all of these different things. And he said something that we want to play for you guys here. He alluded to the fact that this was a battle that the team owners were not going to lose. And he pointed to the fact that when the next CBA comes around, some of these guys are going to get a lashing because of what just happened. And he said this issue with KD, just this issue alone, could potentially cost future players hundreds of millions of dollars. So what we want to do is we want to play what Stephen A. Smith had to say here, because I think a lot of you guys are going to find this to be quite interesting. And then we're going to come back and react to what he had to say. So take a listen to what Stephen A. Smith had to say here.
You can sit up there and be the biggest headache in the world. Owners and executives in the NBA will get over it if you show up and play. You show up and play and you ball and the results follow you, they'll tolerate a lot. The one thing you can't tolerate, this is one of those rare situations, doggy, and Wendy knows this. It doesn't have to be collusion. It's actually one of those situations. You don't have to collude. How can you be receptive to paying dudes who don't want to play? How can you be receptive to paying dudes? How you going to sign you knew you signed a contract extension for 4 years and $198 million. And before one day of that contract was honored, you asked out. How can you be supportive of that? You don't need to collude with other owners to rally together in terms of your mindset and say enough of this. And I can't tell you, and Wendy, listen, I'm beyond the days where I got to be on that beat the way Wendy does. So I'm happily going to refer to my buddy right there because he does a great job covering the NBA and he does a hell of a job and he knows what he's talking about. But he knows I'm right when I say this. I have never seen owners this gung-ho. I mean, they're tired of it. What has happened in Brooklyn alone is enough to have set NBA players back decades. That's the kind of damage that this nonsense that was going on has done. So to let them get away with it this time, it could not happen. It could not happen because if it did, it would have changed the course of empowerment forever. Empowerment, people don't have a problem with, doggy. Entitlement is what they have an issue with.
Yeah.
That was the confusion, and that's why Joe Tsai took this position, because every owner that I know, unsolicited, has said kudos to him, and they mean it.
And listen, I'm 100% in agreement. I mean, if you sign a contract for $198 million, that means you got to show up and play. I mean, as simple as that. And you can't be moaning and groaning about coaches and GMs. And if you're Kyrie Irving and you're making a fortune, you can't take a week off because you got a kid's birthday you want to go to, and you say don't go to Portland, Utah, and Detroit. That's finished. I mean, the bottom line is they pay you the $40, $50 million, but you're going to have to perform, and you're going to have to go out there, and you're going to have to play a decent amount of games. So I agree with Brian, and you are 1,000% right. This is a good day for the NBA because the average sports fan, and I'm not talking about the guy who doesn't care about the NBA, I'm talking about the sports fan who watches all the sports and cares about the athletes and loves the games. What bothers them more than anything else is if you're making $50 million, they can live with it. But if you're making $50 million, you got to show up. In a lot of cases, stay out of the newspapers, play your rear end off, and don't moan and groan about your secret, about your life. You don't like the coach. You don't like 4 days and 5 nights and all that nonsense.
So you heard what he had to say. He was emphatic about it. He said there was no way on God's green earth that Joe Tsai was going to lose that battle to Kevin Durant. And he also said, if you pay close attention to what he said, he also said that this situation, along with the Brooklyn Nets, has given a lot of the team managers, owners, however you want to call them, stewards, however you want to call them, enough ammunition to totally obliterate these guys in the next CBA. And if I'm being honest with you, a lot of these guys have it coming. Because for the simple fact that Kevin Durant felt like he had enough clout to go in there and basically dictate terms to a team owner shows you just how emboldened a lot of these guys have become. And I'm telling you now, you better believe the owners are gonna say something about it. And I also want to say this too, because there's an aspect about this entire equation that a lot of people don't spend enough time focusing on, which is this: the fans. People don't spend enough time focusing on the fact that NBA fans are actually getting tired of seeing this. I don't think fans have an issue with guys making a lot of money. I don't think that's the issue. I think the issue with the fans is that when they see you're getting paid tens of millions of dollars a year and they see this type of behavior, that begins to turn off the fans. And for whatever reason, I don't understand why we don't spend enough time focusing on the people that patronize it's unbelievable to me. It is unbelievable to me. If there are no fans, there's nothing. You can get the best basketball players in the world, but if people don't want to watch them, they're not going to be making all this money. It is a spectator sport. There are a bunch of sports out there that don't bring in these type of viewership. If track and field athletes brought in these type of viewership numbers, they'll be making tens of millions of dollars a year. It's the audience, the people that patronize, that go to games, pay money for games, season ticket holders, people that buy TV packages, that watch these games, people that buy the merchandise, the paraphernalia, all of these different. These are the people generating all this money. And I don't understand why people are okay with alienating these guys. I don't understand. I don't know what type of business it is. How can you be in business and you don't know who your customers are, or you're not aware of that, or you aren't sensitive to your? It's unbelievable to me. So to me, if you heard what Stephen A. Smith said, I think this is just the beginning of it's going to be a tsunami, and I'm going to have my popcorn ready. And you better believe some of the people that are going to be rejoicing for these owners are going to be the fans, believe it or not, because I think NBA fans are getting tired of it. They're tired of it. So these are my thoughts and opinions. What I want to know from you guys is, what do you think about what Stephen A. Smith had to say there? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section, and we catch you all on the next episode. Peace.